Sarah Chechen was born in Mexico City, and she was the second child of Armenian genocide survivors. After relocating to East LA, Sarah attended LAUSD schools and was one of only 2 students from Garfield High School to attend college. After obtaining a BA degree and a California teaching credential from UCLA, Sarah began teaching schools in Sherman Oaks. Over time, she created one of the first Armenian culture programs during the ethnic studies movement of the 1970s. In 1987, Ms. Chechen transferred to Ramona Elementary School in Little Armenia. Every April 24th, her father, Hampartsum Chechen, would speak to her class of 38 students, sharing the stories of his childhood in Kharkiv and his life as a genocide survivor. Her father eventually dictated his memoir, and she translated his story into English, a process that nearly took 5 years and resulted in the publication A Hair's Breadth from Death. May I present Zarohi Sarah Chechen.
Our next honoree is Dr. S. Peter Cowie. Dr. S. Peter Cowie was born and raised in Ferrisburgh, northeastern Scotland. In 1975, he received his MA in Classics with first-class honors from Fraserburgh Academy. In 1983, he received an MA in Armenology and Subsidiary Theology from the University of Oxford, Mansfield College. From 1980 to 1981, as part of his studies at the University of Yerevan, he conducted manuscript research at the Madina Taran Institute for the preservation and study of ancient manuscripts. In 1983, Dr. Cowie received his PhD in Armenology from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. In 1996, Dr. Cowie became Professor of Armenian Studies at UCLA. Since his appointment in 2000, he is still the holder of Gregory Chair at UCLA. Dr. Cowie is the author of 5 books and editor of 9. A recipient of the Garbis Papazian Award of Armenology, Dr. Cowie was recently inducted into Accademia Ambrosiana Milan, Classe di Studi sul Vicini Oriente. His latest work, The Armenians, Religious and Cultural Interchange Across the Mediterranean and Eastern World, is to be published by Gorgeous Press of New Jersey. Dr. Cowie resides in Sherman Oaks with his wife, Anahit. We congratulate you and wish you continued success.
When he first came to talk to us at St. Peter, this was many years ago, when we were both younger. When we were both younger, he came to talk to our ACYO group, and they all thought we were brothers.
Շնորհակալություն։ Աշիշտ շատ լավ հիշեմ դոկտոր Ֆոսարյանի գադագասել բնավորությունը այդ ժամանակները մինչև այսօր։ Շատ շնորհակալություն։ Մեծ պատիվ է ինձ համար այսպիսի նշան ստանալ ցեզին ման կազմակերպությունները, որ նվիրված է ցեղասպանության, ճանաչման, կոնսերվացիան, ինչպես նաև նոր սերնդի կրթության բարձրացման ընթացքին Հայաստանը և Սփյուռքի մեջ։ Aisaritof Anterenov, Kanimen Bidorumner, Bidusei, Tsizihet, Pashnel. Yekuchos. Genocide is a phenomenon with many facets. Its background, course, and impact are a central part of our classes on modern Armenian literature, drama, film, nationalism, the American Armenian diaspora. For this year's centennial, I am co-editing a volume of translations and introductions to the works of the generation of the genocide. Those intellectuals deemed so influential by the Ottoman government that they were silenced at the very outset of the process. The task has given me a lot of time to ponder. Our hope is that the volume will be a tribute to the authors who gave their lives for their ideals a century ago. Our goal is that it will serve not only as a memorial to their death, but as a re-presentation of their works in English, sometimes for the first time, to bring their message to a new audience in all the vigor of their imagination and eloquence and the boldness of their conception. To be true to them, to ensure that they did not die in vain, we need to claim them and their project for our new age. In seeking justice for the crime of their death and that of the whole generation they symbolize, we need to be challenged by their innovative and often experimental approach to life and art in our society of the present. Their rallying cry, particularly the poets, was an appeal to the Armenian spirit, a spirit that knows no boundaries of time, circumstance, or place. It is often said that survival is the most potent rebuttal of the attempt at annihilation. Not a mere existence, but one animated by the vitality of creative expression. I said above that the authorities silenced these representatives of the generation of the genocide, but clearly that expression is incorrect. In putting to death the messengers, they could not eradicate their message, a message we need to heed a century later, as fresh as it was then, one of the spirit, the indomitability of the Armenian spirit. Thank you. Great.
Born and raised in Los Angeles, Dr. Carla Garbedian earned her undergraduate and PhD degrees in international relations at the London School of Economics and Political Science before working as a producer, director, and foreign correspondent based in Britain. She became known for making documentaries about human rights issues, and she is the only American to have anchored the BBC World News. Carla directed the award-winning film Screamers about genocide, which was released in 2006 and has been translated into 12 languages. Carla has a long association with the Armenian Film Foundation, where she is currently leading its project to digitize 400 rare Armenian genocide survivor and witness testimonies for Steven Spielberg's Visual History Archive. She was also a keynote speaker at the Knights of Vartan New York Times Square Genocide Commemoration in 2008. She is also the recipient of 3 awards, including the Distinguished Armand T. Wagner Humanitarian Award. Dr. Carla Garbedian.
Very briefly, thank you so much, Knights of Vartan, for this lovely evening and those encouraging words of support. Thank you. For anybody who has stood in Times Square in the heart of New York City and experienced what it's like to be right there, speaking our truth to the world, not just to New York City, but to the world. It's the most amazing experience. And hats off to the Knights of Vartan, every year fighting the Turks who try to cancel that event, and they persist, they fight, and we keep having that event right in the heart of New York City, in the heart of America. Thank you very much.
Maggie Mangansarian Goshen was born in Beirut, Lebanon. She attended UCLA and graduated from CSUN with a BA degree in 1984. It was Maggie's love and passion for history and her Armenian roots that drew her to the Ararat Keshishian Museum in Mission Hills. Her desire to assist at the museum was profound, and in 1998 she began volunteering regularly. Observing the countless hours of dedication to the museum's mission, the Keshishian family endorsed her appointment as director. For the past 17 years, Maggie has graciously served the museum, and as director, she has organized and presented over 200 cultural events. Maggie has been responsible for securing funding from major donors for the renovation of the museum, including a new research library. She continues to be a powerhouse of energy, utilizing her talents for the betterment of the museum. Maggie Goshen.
I'm deeply honored to be here today because I'm amongst giants in here. The scholars who are here are the scholars that have been my inspiration throughout the years. I want to thank Rubina Pirunia, who's been my inspiration all along, and my mentor. I want to say to the Keshishian family, to the Ararat Home Board of Trustees, because if they didn't believe in my mission, I wouldn't be able to be here today. I want to say, Luther, if you're watching from up there, you've been my guardian angel all this time, because you believe in the mission that we need to preserve our heritage, and you believe you had a vision that there has to be a repository. Thank you, Luther. Thank you.
The next two honorees are sisters, and I'm going to read their bios or shortened bios together because they are very similar. Arda and Doris Melkonian are both doctoral candidates at UCLA, where they are pursuing a PhD in social research methodology. They are currently research consultants at the USC Shoah Foundation, working on the Armenian Film Foundation's collection of the Armenian genocide testimonies. However, Arda's research on the genocide emphasizes the experiences of women who endured the trauma. Doris's research on the genocide, Doris's research focuses on the genocide and its effects on those who experienced it and their descendants who followed. Both women have presented their research on the genocide at international conferences in Istanbul and Yerevan. Both have forthcoming publications in the Armenian Genocide, the Essential Reference Guide, and the Islamized Armenians Conference Volume, published by Hrant Dink Foundation. I would like to present the sisters Arda and Doris Melkonian.
As many of you know, my sister Arda and I usually do joint presentations. So true to form, we decided to pull the 2 minutes allotted to both of us to say a few words to convey our thoughts and express our gratitude.
We are truly humbled to be recognized and honored for our work advancing Armenian genocide awareness. Indeed, the work that we do is a labor of love, dedicated to our ancestors who suffered 100 years ago.
We have been blessed with the privilege to research the Armenian genocide in various capacities. Our primary research focus revolves around survivor testimonies. Through our research and our presentations, we have tried to give voice to genocide survivors, presenting their once intimate, personal, and overlooked stories to both Armenian and non-Armenian communities.
We'd like to share a few words about the survivor testimonies that we work with. As you know, many of these testimonies are riddled with unspeakable horrors and heart-wrenching stories. Working with these testimonies, we recognize the resilience of our people, their faith in God, their love of our culture, language, and heritage. We felt their pride for their nation, their communities, and their families. Yes, working with the narratives often leaves us emotionally drained, but we consider it a privilege to have the opportunity to carry out research which honors the memory of our grandparents and those of their generation who marched through the deserts of Deir Zor.
While our primary research has focused on survivor testimonies, we have carried out research in Armenian day schools, examining cross-generational transmission of genocide trauma and the impact of the genocide on Armenian students' identity formation. However, our most recent research examines the theological implications of the genocide, how the genocide has affected our faith. In fact, we just arrived this morning at 4 a.m. from Venice, Italy, where we were interviewing the monks at the Mkhitaryan Monastery. And we will continue interviewing Armenian Apostolic, Catholic, and Evangelical clergy for our study. So tonight, some of you in the audience today will be getting a phone call from us to do our study and continue our research. So beware. We are very excited about this groundbreaking research. We as a Christian people who have experienced genocide and maintained our faith have an important message to present to the world, and we hope to share this message with this study.
If we may, we would like to acknowledge the role Knights of Vartan has played in financially supporting so many research studies administered through NASR, the National Association for Armenian Studies and Research. It is important not only to provide words of encouragement, but to also fund studies. There are important scholarly projects that need to be conducted, books that must be written, and conferences that need to be organized. However, none of these are possible without financial support. We would like to thank the Knights of Vartan, which helps fund several projects through the Knights Fund for Armenian Studies.
We would like to also express our gratitude to our parents who have taught us to love our people, our culture, our God, and we would like to thank them for their steadfast support. Tonight, we would like to thank all of you for your support. We are energized by so many of you who have, in various ways, supported our work and encouraged us in our paths. We are able to carry out our work through the grace of God and for His glory. As one of our ministers, Reverend Jason Matosian, when he signs off in his correspondences, for His glory, by His grace. And indeed, that has been our motto. We do this work for His glory, by His grace. With grateful hearts, we thank you tonight.